Now here in this chapter we will include, let's recall what we have already done. We have done it already in grade 6 here. Like this is a number line, you are familiar with it as well. So we know in this -1, -5 and 3 we have marked with a circle over here. So here we can see one thing, that these 3 points are marked with circle, right? And we can relate it in order also, that the number which is written to the leftmost side on a number line is the smallest of all the numbers, of all the integers. So here if I want to compare these numbers, -5, -1 and 3, so we find that the number which is on the leftmost side, that means -5. So this is the smallest of the number, and the number as we move to the right hand side of on a number line, that means the number keeps on increasing. So from -5, if I go to the right hand side, it will keep on increasing. So -1 will be greater than -5, and similarly I can say that 3 will be greater than -1. So if I want to arrange it in ascending or in descending order, let's see. If I write in ascending order, I need to write first of all -5, because ascending means from a smaller number to the bigger number. Always remember it in this way. I'll tell you a trick here, how to write the number in a descending order. Descending means D stands for descending and D stands for down. So from where you go down, from up to down, that shows from a higher to a lower, right? From upper to low, from big to small. So if you are writing in descending order, means you have to write from a bigger number to a smaller number, and vice versa is ascending order. So here when we are writing for ascending order, then first number is -5, then will come -1, and then the number 3. So here we have arranged the numbers in ascending order, writing from smaller to bigger. Opposite, if we want to write, we will first of all write 3, then -1, then -5, okay, and the sign will be changed here in that case. Furthermore, we can see some more numbers here, like second number line. On this number line, if I want to relate any other number, like -16, it is on the leftmost. So I can, if I want to compare these numbers, -16 is the smallest. If I compare it with -9 or -4 or 3 or 8. So the numbers increases if we move to the right hand side on a number line, and it decreases if we move from right to left on a number line. I hope you recalled already these things in grade 6, so it is now much more clear to you as well. Let us proceed to the next segment over here. The next segment says a number line representing integers. We are familiar with this as well. Now, here on this number line, you can see two numbers, -3 and -2, right? And they are marked by the points E and F. So, what may be asked to you? You may be asked that which integer is represented by suppose E, F, G, H, or whatever the alphabet if I'll ask you. So which integer is marked by E and which is marked by F? So E is marked by -3 and F is marked by -2. Can you tell me now which integer is marked here by the alphabet J? So for this, what we have to do, we have to move on to the right hand side, and we find here from -2, if I move to the right side, I'll get -1, then I'll get a 0 because I have to add 1 if I have to go to the right hand side, and I will subtract 1 if I move to the left on a number line. So while moving to the right side, if I add 1 to 0, I'll get 1, and here 2, 3, 4, and so on. Similarly, if I move to the left on the number line, I have to decrease by 1. Decrease by 1 means if it is -3, I have to subtract 1 from this. That means now it becomes -4. So the number which is written to the next of it is -4, then comes -5, and so on. So which integer is represented by the number C? So you can easily look at this and can say that it is -5. Basically, you can arrange all these now numbers. Look at this question. So here, if we arrange the numbers 6, -4, 3, 0 and -5, First you need to arrange them in ascending order and then you have to mark them on the number line. Let us arrange them all in ascending order first of all, and then we'll arrange them on the number line. So while arranging in ascending order, we have to first check the negative numbers. Okay, how many negative numbers are here? First number and second number. Here are two negative numbers. So first of all, we will arrange these two numbers. Now, which is smaller, negative 4 or negative 5? Remember, 5 is greater than 4. Okay, but if they both are negative, the inequality sign changes. That means if 5 is greater than 4, then minus 5 should be less than minus 4. Okay, because you can see from this also, like if I represent here, this is minus 4, this is minus 5, this is minus 6 and minus 7 and so on. So you see which number is on the left hand side? We find here negative 5 is on left of negative 4. So which is the smaller number here? Negative 5 is the smaller. So let us arrange these numbers here. First of all, I'll write negative 5, then I'll include negative 4, then I have all the numbers which are positive and a 0. So I'll write here a 0, then I'll write 3 and then I'll write 6 here. So these are the numbers which are arranged in ascending order. Now let us arrange them on the number line as well. So here minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, so on. On the right we have minus 2, then minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and so on. So which alphabet here represents negative 5? You can check from this. It is represented by the alphabet C. Negative 4 is represented by the alphabet D here. 0 here is represented by the letter H. 3 is represented by the letter K and 6 is represented by the letter N. So we have arranged all these in ascending order and marked them on the number line. So for marking, you need to first of all draw a number line. Remember always, whenever you are drawing a number line, all the numbers should be equally spaced. Okay, there should be equal spacing between all the numbers when you are marking it on a number line. Let us come to the conclusion that on a number line, we can add a positive number, we move to the right, right? So whenever you are moving to the right, that means you are adding a positive integer. Adding a negative integer, we move to the left. Similarly, subtracting a positive integer, we move to the left again, and subtracting a negative integer, we move to the right. Now, what do you understand by these 4 lines? So here, let us see what all operations we have to do if we have to add or subtract the numbers on the number line. Let's take the first part, that if we add a positive integer, then we move to the right. What do you understand by this? Let's take an example, 3 and 2. If I am adding a positive integer, so here I am adding 2, this is a positive integer and I am adding it to the integer 3. That shows if I am adding this, I have to go to the right hand side. So let me mark the numbers. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on. So I have to add 2 to the number 3. So from 3, I'll again say 1 and 2 steps to the right. That means finally I reached the point 5. So the answer should be here 5. But now your question can be, can we apply this first rule to a negative number also? That means if I add a positive integer to a negative integer, like if I add minus 4 plus 2, what should be your answer? So again in the same case, let me mark here it is minus 4. Now from minus 4, if I am adding 2 to this number, I will be moving to the right hand side because I am adding a positive integer here. 2, what is the sign of 2? It is plus, that means positive. So I'll again go to the right side 2 steps. So whenever we are adding a positive integer on the number line, we will move on to the right hand side. That means finally I am reaching at the point minus 2, and here is the answer. I hope this is clear to you all, the first law here. Now the second rule that is to be followed here is add a negative integer, we move to the left. That means when you are adding a negative integer, let me take, I want to add a negative integer -2 to another integer, say 3. In that case, what we have to do? Since I have to add, I have to move to the left hand side. So from 3, that means from 3, I have to go 2 steps back. Okay, negative means you are going back, but here you are adding this. Remember this thing. Okay, so from 3, you will go 2 steps back, and finally you are reaching the number 1 over here. So the result will be positive 1. Okay, so can we apply the same again to the negative numbers also? Let's check it. If I write here a few numbers, now let me add a negative number 2 minus 1. If 2 minus 1, I am adding a number -2. Then from -1, I have to go 2 steps back. Okay, 2 steps back because I am adding it. So from -1, I will go 2 steps back and see where I will reach finally. I will reach the number -3. So this is very clear whether you are adding a negative integer to a positive or to a negative integer. In both the cases, you have to move to the left hand side over here. I hope it is clear. Moving on to the third law now. The third law states, subtract a positive integer. We move to the left. That means whenever you are subtracting a positive integer, for example, if you are subtracting the number 4 from a positive integer, it can be any, it can be 3. So if I am subtracting 4 from 3, I have to move to the left hand side. Okay, so from 3, I'll begin 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll start from 3 and I will subtract 4. That means I will go 4 steps back. 4 steps back means 1, 2, 3 and 4. So finally where I'll reach? I'll be reaching the number -1. Okay, so the same can be applied to the negative numbers also. If you are subtracting a number 2 from a negative integer, say -3. So you'll start from -3 and you will subtract 2. So let me mark it here. This is -4, -5, -6, -7. So from where we'll have to start? We have to start from -3 because we are subtracting from the number -3, and what we are subtracting is 2. So from -3, we'll go 2 steps back, and finally you are having the number, you are reaching at the point -5. So whether you are adding or subtracting, in this case, when you are subtracting a positive integer, we have to always move to the left, irrespective you are subtracting it from a negative integer or you are subtracting it from a positive integer. Always you have to go to the left when you are doing the subtraction of a positive integer. But what if you are subtracting a negative integer, which is included in the point number 4? If you are subtracting a negative integer, we move to the right. Subtracting a negative integer, let's go ahead. Subtracting a negative integer, let me take the negative integer as -4. So we are subtracting -4 from a number, from another integer. Let me subtract it from the number -3. So what I have to do? Whenever we are subtracting a negative integer, see what we have to do? We have to move to the right. So right of what? Right of the number from which you are subtracting, that is from the right of -3, right? How many steps? Now 4 steps we have to move to the right hand side. So from -3 I'll start 1, 2, 3 and 4. See which point I will reach? Finally I'll reach the point 1. So remember always, while subtracting a negative integer, we are going to the right hand side. Even 2 cases we move to the right, while we subtract a negative integer and while we add a positive integer, and these two are closely interrelated to each other. How they are interrelated? Again, let's see. From this, if there is a negative sign before any bracket, what do? We multiply the sign. which we will be dealing in our later segments also. But here you can relate it like, if before any bracket, if there is a minus sign before this, then this sign will change. That means it will become minus 3. Now minus 4 is there in the bracket, it will change its sign to positive 4. To positive 4. And there are certain rules also which we will follow. Now see, it is same as adding a positive integer, right? And adding a positive integer, what do? We move to the right. Okay? So if before any bracket there is a negative sign, we change the sign of the integer which is already present in the bracket. We will go in more detail of this particular topic here. Let's move ahead.